Sometimes, the greatest act of strength is stepping back and letting others miss out on what you have to offer. In the words of the Stoics, your value doesn't depend on recognition or approval from others. Today, we'll explore how practicing detachment and embracing your self-worth can empower you to walk away when needed, without regret. Let people miss out on you and focus on what truly matters, your inner peace and resilience. Why we struggle with being overlooked started why we struggle with being overlooked. It's no secret humans crave connection. We want to feel valued, appreciated, and understood. These aren't just desires, they're hardwired into us. From the time we're kids, we learn that approval equals safety. A parent's smile means we're doing something right. A teacher's praise gives us confidence, and as we grow, we carry that need into our adult lives, shaping how we interact with the world. But somewhere along the way, this innocent need for connection becomes a heavy weight. The fear of being overlooked or worse rejected starts to control us. We hustle for our worth, doing everything we can to fit into spaces that don't truly value us. Why? Because deep down we're afraid that if someone doesn't see our value, maybe we don't have any. This fear is powerful, but it's also deceptive. It tricks us into thinking that other people's perceptions are a mirror of our own worth. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, wrote, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters in the same way. It's not whether someone recognizes your value, it's whether you believe in it yourself." And yet we chase approval because rejection feels personal when someone doesn't value us. It feels like a wound, an open question, what's wrong with me? But here's the truth. Most of the time, their lack of recognition says more about them than it does about you. It could be their limited perspective, their insecurities, or simply that they don't need what you offer. And that's okay. You are not for everyone, and you don't have to be. The cost of trying to be everything for everyone is high. You lose time, energy, and worst of all, yourself. It's like pouring water into a sieve. No matter how much you give, it's never enough. But letting go of this need for external validation, that's freedom. It's the first step toward recognizing that your worth is inherent. It doesn't come from someone else's approval. It comes from within, the power of letting go. Go. What does it really mean to let people miss out on you? It's not about shutting people out or giving up on relationships. It's about shifting the focus back to yourself, your peace, your growth, your happiness. It's saying, I will not shrink myself to fit your expectations. If you can't see my worth, that's your loss. Let's think of this idea. Practically think of yourself as a garden. Some people will walk by and be stunned at the beauty you've cultivated. Others will stroll past without a second glance. Do you stop tending your flowers because one person didn't notice? Of course not. The garden isn't there for everyone. It's there for those who are willing to slow down. Appreciate and nurture it. When you stop trying to convince others of your value, you reclaim your energy. That energy can be redirected toward things that truly matter. Your personal growth, your passions, and the people who genuinely see and appreciate you. Letting go isn't just liberating, it's empowering. This doesn't mean the process is easy. We've all been conditioned to believe that if someone doesn't value us, we need to work harder to prove ourselves. But Stoicism teaches us something different. It says you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Letting people miss out on you is an act of self-mastery. It's choosing to protect your peace over pandering for approval. And the most beautiful part is that when you let go, you make space for relationships that uplift you, for opportunities that align with your purpose, and for the freedom to be unapologetically yourself. Letting people miss out isn't a loss. It's an invitation to something better. Recognizing when to walk. Recognizing when to walk away. Letting people miss out on you begins with recognizing when a connection no longer serves you. This isn't always easy, especially when you've invested time, love, or energy into a relationship, friendship, or job. But knowing when to walk away is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. It's an act of self-preservation, not selfishness. The signs are often subtle at first: a sense of imbalance, a persistent feeling of being undervalued, or the realization that you're always the one making the effort. Maybe you've noticed how often you're the one initiating conversations, the one showing up, the one compromising, or perhaps you felt dismissed, overlooked, or even taken for granted. These feelings aren't just inconveniences. They're signals that something is off, that the dynamic isn't mutual. Walking away doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you choose to honor your boundaries and protect your peace. It's like a compass that keeps you aligned with your values. Without it, you risk being pulled in directions that don't serve you. As Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, wisely said, "The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." If someone's presence doesn't inspire growth, joy, or peace, it may be time to reconsider their place in your life. Here's a helpful analogy. Imagine you're offering a rare and exquisite fruit to someone. You know it's special, that it's been cultivated with care and intention, but instead of appreciating it, they turn it down, saying they don't need it, or that it's not to their taste. Do you stand there and plead with them to take it, or do you move on, knowing someone else will treasure it? This is the essence of letting people miss out. It's not bitterness, it's understanding that not everyone is meant to walk alongside you. Walking away doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be as simple as taking a step back, reducing your emotional investment, or quietly setting a boundary. And yes, it will feel uncomfortable at times. We're conditioned to believe that relationships are meant to be fixed at all costs. But here's the truth: not every relationship is meant to last. Some people come into your life as lessons, others as blessings, and knowing the difference is a form of wisdom. When you walk away, you create space for peace, for growth, and for people who genuinely see your worth. And remember, walking away doesn't mean you've failed. It means you've chosen to value yourself enough to stop trying to convince someone else, to embrace embracing the right connections. When you let go of the need to prove yourself, you begin to see the beauty of quality over quantity. Modern culture might tell you otherwise, convincing you that being loved by many is the ultimate goal. But deep, meaningful connections are never about numbers. They're about authenticity, reciprocity, and shared values. True connection starts with being yourself, not the watered-down, edited version of you, but the whole, unapologetic you. Authenticity acts like a magnet, naturally drawing the right people into your life while pushing away those who don't align. When you live authentically, you stop chasing people who don't understand you and start building relationships with those who do. This doesn't just apply to friendships or romantic connections. It extends to every aspect of life: your career, your creative pursuits, and even the way you interact with strangers. Think of your energy like a garden. If you try to grow every flower imaginable, the soil becomes depleted and nothing flourishes. But when you focus on a few meaningful plants, nurturing them with care and intention, they grow stronger and more vibrant. The same goes for your connections. Choose depth over breadth, and you'll find relationships that truly enrich your life. How do you embrace the right connections? Start by paying attention to how people make you feel. Do they inspire you, challenge you in healthy ways, and celebrate your wins without envy? Or do they leave you drained, questioning your worth, or feeling like you need to change to fit in? The right people won't require you to dim your light. They'll help it shine even brighter. One way to find these people is to seek out spaces where you feel naturally at ease. This could be a creative community, a professional network, or even a small circle of close friends. Pay attention to those who show up consistently, who listen without judgment, and who value you without conditions. These are the people who deserve a place in your life. The wait for these connections might be long and it might feel lonely at times, but the reward is worth it, because when you find the right people, you'll realize something powerful. You were never too much or not enough. You were simply waiting for the ones who could see your worth all along. So take your time. Let go of the ones who don't appreciate you, and trust that the right people will find you when they do. You'll know you won't have to convince them of your value. They'll recognize it from the start. And that's when you'll understand the beauty of letting others miss out. It was never a loss. It was a gift of clarity and space for something far greater. The balance between self-reflection and self-acceptance. Self-reflection and self-acceptance. Sometimes the hardest part of letting people miss out on you is wondering if they're right when someone fails to see your value. It can trigger an avalanche of self-doubt. What if I'm not as great as I think I am? What if I need to change? These thoughts aren't inherently bad. In fact, they're an opportunity for growth. But there's a fine line between healthy self-reflection and unnecessary self-criticism. Self-reflection is about learning and improving. It's the ability to ask yourself honest questions. Am I showing up authentically? Am I living by my values? Are there areas where I can grow? If the answer reveals a blind spot, that's a chance to evolve. But when someone's dismissal makes you question your entire worth, that's not growth, it's a trap. Self-acceptance, on the other hand, is your anchor. It's the foundation that keeps you steady when doubt tries to creep in. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind. Not outside events realize this, and you will find strength. You can't control how others perceive you, but you can control how much weight you give their opinions." Balancing reflection with acceptance means being open to feedback while staying grounded in who you are. Not all criticism is valid, and not everyone's perspective. I've is worth your energy. Learn to discern which voices matter and which ones don't. And above all, remind yourself that your worth isn't up for debate. It's a given in the end. It's not about being perfect. It's about being real. Embrace your strengths, acknowledge your flaws, and trust that the right people will see you for who you are without you having to prove a thing. Turning missed opportunities into growth. Turning missed opportunities into growth when someone fails to see your worth. It can feel like a missed opportunity. A door closing on something that could have been. Maybe it was a relationship you poured yourself into, a job where your talents were overlooked, or a friendship that faded despite your best efforts. It's easy to get stuck in those moments, replaying them in your mind, wondering what you could have done differently. But here's the truth. Every missed opportunity is also a chance to grow. Growth begins when you reframe the narrative. Instead of seeing these moments as failures, view them as redirections. Think of your life as a path. Sometimes you'll encounter people or situations that feel like the destination, only to realize they were meant to be a detour. These experiences, as painful as they may be, teach you something about yourself, what you need, what you deserve, and most importantly, what you're no longer willing to settle for. Take rejection, for example. On the surface, it feels deeply personal, as though it's a judgment of your worth. But rejection often has little to do with you and everything to do with the other person's capacity to see what you bring to the table. Imagine offering someone a rare and beautiful gift, only for them to say they're not interested. Does that make the gift any less valuable? Of course not. The same is true for you. Their inability to recognize your worth doesn't diminish it. It simply means they weren't the right match. Letting people miss out on you creates space for better opportunities, ones that align with your values and amplify your growth. Think of it like pruning a tree. Cutting away dead or unhealthy branches might feel harsh at first, but it allows the tree to grow taller and stronger. The same principle applies to your life. By releasing what no longer serves you, you make room for healthier relationships, more fulfilling work, and a deeper sense of purpose. When you look back on these moments, you might realize they weren't missed opportunities at all. They were lessons in disguise, helping you build the resilience and self-awareness needed to thrive. So instead of asking, why didn't they see my value, start asking, what did I learn from this, and how can I use it to move forward? That shift in perspective isn't just empowering, it's transformative. You are the prize. At the heart of this journey lies a simple but profound truth. You are the prize. Your worth isn't determined by who recognizes it. It exists independently, unshaping by others' opinions. Letting people miss out on you is a radical act of self-respect. It's choosing to honor your value even when others fail to. This isn't about arrogance or ego. It's not about thinking you're better than anyone else. It's about knowing deeply and unapologetically that you bring something unique to the table. The right people will see it without you having to convince them. And for those who don't, their loss, not yours. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. If your thoughts are constantly focused on why someone didn't choose you, you give them power over your happiness. But when you shift that focus inward toward your growth, joy, and purpose, you reclaim that power. You stop seeing yourself as incomplete without their approval and start recognizing yourself as whole, exactly as you are too." So what does it mean to live like you're the prize? It means setting boundaries and sticking to them, even when it's hard. It means walking away from situations that drain you, even if it feels uncomfortable, and it means showing up for yourself every day, not waiting for someone else to validate your worth. Here's the most beautiful part. When you live this way, you attract the right people, the ones who see your light without you having to point it out, the ones who meet you where you are without expecting you to bend or shrink to fit their mold. And when those connections happen, they'll feel effortless because they'll be built on mutual respect and genuine appreciation. The next time you feel tempted to prove your worth to someone, pause and remind yourself, "I am the prize." Say it out loud if you need to let it become a mantra, a daily reminder of your value. Not everyone will see it, and that's okay. You don't need everyone to. You only need the right ones, and they'll never miss what you bring, because when you stop chasing, you allow yourself to be found. And that, my friend, is where your power lies. Letting people miss out on you is an act of self-respect and empowerment. It's about reclaiming your energy, embracing your authenticity, and creating space for meaningful connections that uplift you. Not everyone will see your value, but that doesn't diminish it. Your worth isn't tied to someone else's recognition. It's yours, and it's unshakable. By letting go of relationships that drain you, you make room for those who truly see and appreciate you. You deserve connections that nurture your growth, celebrate your light, and support your journey. So as you move forward, remember this: you are the prize. Live in a way that reflects that truth, and the right people will meet you where you are. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to reflect and share your thoughts.